Hello, viewers. Welcome again to our favorite family show, The Living Room, right here on Equa TV International. The last two episodes, we've been talking about handling psychological issues in our children. And our desire really is that parents will be aware of these problems, what needs to be done, so that our children will be helped to achieve their maximum potential. And we shared with us from her wealth of experience episodes on this program, The Living Room. You've seen that they've been very passionate. We've all been very passionate about the psychological issues in our children, to help parents to know what to do with their children before we move on to other things that parents need to do to help children develop well psychologically and be able to cope with life. Because when we're training our children, that's what we're doing, helping prepare them for life. That's what we are supposed to do as parents. So, okay, we'll start again with you, Dr. Gyang. How can parents get to know their children better and be available for their children?
I think there are several domains of getting to know your children. And maybe we start with getting to know your children's emotions and how they handle the emotions. A lot of times we want children to be in a particular way, or we compare our children either to their siblings or even to other children. But it is very important for us to understand, what our children are feeling, what makes them feel the way they are feeling. And when they feel in certain types of ways, as a parent, we need to validate their feelings. No matter how, let me use the word stupid it seems to you, or how foolish it sounds, that a child, for example, is moody, especially when you have adolescents in the house. The child just suddenly becomes moody and is withdrawn. First of all, the parent needs to be sensitive to the fact that my child is moody at this point. Then the next thing would be, what is making you moody? And for a child to be able to open up in such situations, the child must consider the parent a safe space. Mm-hmm. And being a safe space would mean that I am actually responsive and not reactive, to the emotions of my children. A lot of parents are very reactive. So depending on what we are feeling, we are lashing out, we are reprimanding, we are shutting them down, we are probably just throwing scriptures at them. As good as scriptures can be, sometimes they can be misplaced, the way we approach our children with them. So we need to, if they feel heard, if they feel loved, if they feel not judged, then most likely they would consider their parents a safe space. And they would be able to now tell you, this is what I am going through. Now, some of the reasons why children can be moody, especially adolescents, sometimes can be very trivial to us. For example, things like, my seatmate was changed in class and I didn't like that. That was a real reason that I heard from a parent, concerning their child over the week. And that was enough to make that girl moody. In fact, she cried. And, the thought is, what is sit? Can't you sit with any other person in your class? Parents would be tempted to think that way. But I think the first thing that you need to do as a parent to validate the fact that this has made your child unhappy. So why is this making you this unhappy? Whatever it is, this is. Sometimes it might be that, my boyfriend dumped me, or, I'm having this challenge or that challenge. The response shouldn't be, you shouldn't be having, why are you thinking of a boyfriend? You're still in secondary school. Do you want to marry or you want to continue with your education? When we do things like that, our children would lock up and then they wouldn't tell us. So when they open up, we validate their experience. Then we help them to walk through the experience, or help them to walk through the emotions, to channel the emotions rightly, to know that, yes, it's okay to feel sad, but it's not okay to be mean to others, to be mean to your siblings because you feel sad about something that happened in class earlier on, or because of something that happened with your friends. Oh, I was excluded from this. Oh, they are not talking to me, so I'm sulking. It's okay that you feel sad, but it's not okay that you refuse to eat your food because you are sad. Then we can help them process, okay, what are better ways of acting? Are there ways that I'm thinking about this right now that I can look at other perspectives, to help me process this better? I think it will be very, very helpful.
So parents should aim to be a safe place where children can talk. Ivy, can you?
Sensitivity, like she said, being sensitive to the children, knowing that one size of shoe does not fit everybody. You have 3 children, that means you have 3 different individuals in your house. So what is good for Paul is not necessarily good for
Peter.
Abigail. So you don't, because Paul, okay, I lived with 2 adults, well, more like adults, some years ago. And one of them, if you as much as say, what kind of dress are you wearing? She can stay moody the whole day. The other person, you tell her, why is your dress this bad? She will just say, and so what? My dress is bad, so what? If you don't like it, look for your own dress. These are 2 different, and the 2 of them have the same parents. So it is not like the other person is bad and this one is good. This is just who
different.
This person is. So if you understand that these are 2 different children, and the way they react or respond to different situations differ, you'll be able to handle them differently. So it will not be that because John, they shouted their team in school and he didn't think that anything was wrong with that. Today they shouted at Abigail and Abigail is moody and you're saying, didn't you see the other day they shouted at John? Did you see anything that John did? No, Abigail is different. Like she said, it's time to sit, to look at the situation. Let us stop reacting. That is the basic thing. As parents, even as teachers, we should stop reacting to these children. We should instead respond to them. And that means
break down the reacting.
Reacting is just snapping. And so what? What is are you the only one? Are you a child? What is wrong with you? Those are reactions. But when you are responding, is that what happened? Okay, tell me more about it. I want to know what exactly happened. How did it get to you? Then you can begin to say, like she said, you don't have to refuse your food now just because of this small thing. I know that you are a good girl. You are beginning to pull her close, to make or him or her close. And like she said, we must first of all create a foundation where you are friendly with the children. There's a safe place. They can trust you. They are free to, when mommy says, are you okay? They can say, yes, mommy, I have something to say. Not, are you okay? Fine. Is anything the problem? No. If you don't get to a point where you are friendly with them, they will never talk to you. You ask them a question, they will give you a blanket answer because they don't want you to disturb them. But if they are friendly with you, in fact, before you begin to ask questions, they come home and say, Mommy, I have something to say. Please, can I talk to you? A parent once told me her daughter in school called her and said, Mommy, there's a problem. I'm coming home. She's in the university. I want to talk. The mother crashed everything she was doing and waited for her. And she came and talked with the mother, and they were able to solve the issue. But if you are as a parent and the child calls you, Mommy, there is a problem. Say, what is the problem? You have started again, ba? Next time she won't call, because instead she will talk to her friends.
And they may not give good advice.
They may not give good advice. So that's why we have to be sensitive to them. We have to create a safe place. We have to consciously know that our children are different and handle each one differently. That means if you have 10 children, you have 10 different people in your house, and you have to handle each of those 10 persons differently. And one other thing that parents do that really get at me is comparing children. Either to you when you were small, or to their siblings, or to their neighbors or friends. Like when I was in secondary school, I don't used to fail. So how does that affect me? This
Yeah.
is me in secondary school. It's
And I think
different
children don't
they
like that
don't
when you
like
compare,
it. They
when you
don't like
compare.
There are generational gaps. There are issues that happened to you then that you could manage that they cannot manage now because of a lot of events that are happening now. So do not compare them with yourself when you were their age. I'll tell them, see, Rose has done well. So you now, what is the matter with you?
Does Rose have two
Does
heads?
the road have two heads? So, don't compare them. They don't like it. Comparison had led some children to depression because of consistent comparison with their fellow kids. It led them to depression. Don't ever compare children. They are two different persons.
So we need to be available. We need to be
Available.
sensitive. We need to
Yeah.
understand our kids. And we need to let the kids know that this is a safe place
Yeah.
where they can discuss anything.
Anything.
That's the parents, please. Anything. There's
Yeah.
no topic that should be out of
Boundaries.
Yeah, out of boundaries. Children should be able to come and talk to you about anything. I tell my children, whatever it is, come and tell me. I will have a better advice for you than your friends.
Friends.
Come and tell me whatever it, even if you killed somebody, come. We know what to do about that. You're killing somebody. And also, I think in addition to what also makes it a safe place is that nobody else hears it.
Yeah.
I saw a young person put on his WhatsApp update status, and there was a picture of a mother. Say, when you talk to your mother, what happens the next day? The mother was with a loudspeaker in the neighborhood announcing what was told to her in the secret place. So mothers, please, if you do it once, they will never come and tell you anything again. Okay, what else
I
can
think,
parents do?
Just till times children learn from
Their
us.
parents.
And they pick, in fact, they learn from us, they learn from what we do much more than what we say. So if you want your children to be able to regulate themselves emotionally, to handle stress well, then you as a parent need to handle stress well. You as a parent need to manage your emotions well. So if, for example, you're frustrated with your husband, I as a wife, if I shout at him, I lash out at him, and everything, I lock up and I'm not talking to him for the next 3 days. I'm modeling that. I'm telling my children that whenever you're unhappy,
This is what
the
to
next
do.
thing to do is to lock yourself up. Or whenever you're unhappy, don't eat food. When you're
Yeah.
unhappy,
Shout.
insult people or shout, those kind of things. So if we want our children to model emotional regulation, then at the heat of our own stress, what do we do? If we're finding it hard to manage stress ourselves, then let's seek for help. There is really nothing in seeking for help. And as you know, I think in the first episode, we talked about how the emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of
the children.
And not as if I am undermining fathers, but most especially mothers, perhaps because we spend more time with the
kids.
children. The emotional tone of the mother sets the emotional, fulcrum or where their emotions are going to develop. So as a mother, as a father, if I'm going through challenges, I should not cope with taking tablets, taking alcohol, taking things, to make me numb or things like that. It is okay for your children to know, okay, at this point, mommy is feeling sad because A, B, and C happened. So, you talk about it with them too. If you feel sad because of something that happened at work or whatever it is, well, I don't feel happy. This and this and this happened. You're modeling communication, telling your children that, look, when things go bad, this is a safe space. We can talk about it. And then they would also have the confidence to share with you. Then, if you want to pray about it with the children. You can even tell your children, okay, I'm feeling very bad. Pray for me. They pray for you. They now know that when they are sad, I can tell mommy, please pray for me. Children can model. I tell my kids, at some point, especially when they are writing exams, don't worry, the Lord is with you. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Now, I had this interview very recently. As I was going, I had not slept well and stuff like that. And when I dropped my kids in school, my 7-year-old just came to the window. Mommy, remember that the Lord is with you.
Wow.
Now, it is out of what I have been telling them. He's just bringing it back to me. So let's model emotional regulation. Let's control the way. Once you have children, life becomes no longer about yourself
you, yeah.
alone, but it's about these lives that you have brought. You're responsible for them. So we have to be more careful in the way we relate with ourselves as spouses. We have to be more careful the way we lash out at people. When you're driving on the streets and somebody crosses over you, you're shouting, you're insulting the person, or you're driving with speed to go and block the person. You know, you're actually modeling emotional regulation to your children. So we need to model appropriate emotional regulation.
So the children are watching. You want to add something to that? Okay.
Just, modeling is very, very important. You know, I was told of a story of a father who took the children to school in the morning, and on the way he was just, if this one passed, you say, "Stupid, idiot! Look at this one. You don't even know how to drive. Go and drop your car." He was just like
insulting people.
In the afternoon, the mother went to pick the children, and she was singing throughout till they got home. So when they got to the gate of the house, the son asked the mother, I say, "It's like all these stupid people are no longer on the road this afternoon." So, you know, so that is modeling. We have to be very, very careful what we say to children. And the words of mouth. Growing up, I would prefer you beat me than tell me things. There are people who don't care. If you insult them, they don't care.
I think everybody cares. It's just that people just try to develop thicker skin, and then people react differently.
So
but I think
some of us,
harsh words bothers everybody.
Some of us parents use very strong children by name, using their height or their size. You say, "Shut man."
Yeah.
Some children don't like it. They go home, some of them cry.
Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it.
You are the shortest in this class. Why are you so skinny? Do you eat at home at all? Those are not words that are good for children. And some parents use such words too. So let's be careful what we say. You know, when a child, you say, "You are failed again."
Olodo.
Olodo like you. No, you know, so let's be very careful. Let's choose our word. Even the Bible says that let your words be seasoned with salt, so that it will give grace. We want to give grace to our children. So let's be careful what we say to them, even in the heat of our anger. When we are angry, you know, sometimes I say children can really make us angry sometimes. But in the heat of the anger, please, maybe you should, somebody say, walk out and cool down first before you start talking. Because sometimes you will say things that children will keep in their heart even when they are adults. A boy told me in school that the father said that you are a waste.
Wow.
Because of one mistake that he made, that you are a waste. You can't amount to anything.
That's harsh.
You know? And this is your son. If your son becomes a waste, what are you as a father? You know, so we be careful with choice of words. Let's choose our words before you say anything to any child. No matter how angry you are, please be careful. Be careful, because these words go straight into the heart. Yoruba people will say that words are like eggs. When it is broken, you cannot pack it
back.
So let's be careful when we throw words as children, no matter what they have done wrong. Even when what they have done, you know, let's also be able to separate between when the child is outrightly stubborn, when a child is careless, and when the child is making a mistake.
Because just being a child.
Yeah, because when a child is making a mistake, you should ask yourself, have you made some mistakes too? You know, and when a child is careless, is to correct the child. It's not to lash out. And when a child is outrightly stubborn, it's also to correct the child. So be able to separate between the three. What is what. So that you don't, a child may just have made a very honest mistake. And, you know, a little boy went and used groundnut oil to shine his shoes, because he thought that that was the right thing to do, and took the shoe to the father. Daddy, see my shoe. The father said, are you daft? How can you use? And the boy said, the boy, when he was speaking to me, was about 20, that up to today, he hears that thing in his ears as if he's daft, that his father told him he was daft because he used groundnut oil to shine his shoes. Let's be careful.
So I think sometimes, or many times, or all the time, the things that we say to our children, say to other people, is what is inside us.
Okay.
Is what is inside us. And I think as growing Christians, we all should be deliberate about making sure that what is inside us is Christ-like. You know, so if anybody says the children that nobody makes you say evil things. So if insults come out of you under pressure, it's there and it hadn't been dealt with. So we need to grow as Christians and put more of Jesus in us and out with the rubbish that is inside us more and more. And then we keep praying for the fruits of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit won't just fall upon you like that now. It's these things that try you to make sure that there's patience, there's long suffering, there's kindness, and all the fruits of the Spirit. So we need to build ourselves up, you know, as Christians to be all that God wants us to be. So that even under pressure, evil, I don't know why a Christian, you say people have annoyed you or your child annoyed you, idiot will come out of your mouth or fool. Why would such a thing come out? If such things are still coming out of your mouth, then as somebody says, you need to go and wash your mouth with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You need to go back to scripture. And there's something Dr. Gyang raised. Once you are a parent, your life has changed forever. Your life has changed forever. It's no more business as usual. You are living no more for just yourself. You are modeling life to someone else. And you can't afford to make mistakes or be careless. So we need to sit up about it. And that's what new parents, once they have a baby, they are rejoicing. Oh, I say, your life has changed forever. Oh. Your eye will open now. You see that your life has changed forever. You are now responsible for another person. And these are things that God will ask of you. Anyway, it's time for break now. We'll go and then we'll come back and continue our conversation. Viewers, when we come back from our break, our phone number will be on your screen so that you could call in to make comments, ask questions. We're really open to hearing from you. We didn't hear from you last week, right? So we would like you to phone in, make comments, ask questions, and contribute to the ongoing conversation. So we'll be back right after the break. We're still here at the living room. Welcome back, viewers, from our break. We've been here at the living room on Ekwa TV with Dr. Gyang, Anna Gyang, and with Mrs. Ibe Namo, talking about handling or dealing with psychological issues in our kids. We've been talking about it in the last two, now is this third episode. And today we've been talking about creating a safe place for your children, knowing your children so that your children can come to you. And one of the things that Dr. Gyang raised and Mrs. Namo also supported was the fact that to be able to do that, parents must also know how to handle their emotions properly, because we model emotional handling before our kids. And the way you handle your emotions is the way kids will handle theirs. So if you're always shouting or giving everybody silent treatment, that's how your kids are going to react. So we need to handle ourselves properly so that kids can emulate properly. So our phone number will be put on the screen now so that if you want to call in, you could call in to make comments, ask questions, or contribute to our conversation. So we're still talking about how to handle psychological issues in our kids. So Dr. Gyang, back to you again.
Yeah, I think another very important thing is we have to be conscious of our parenting styles. Now, interestingly, there are particular parenting styles that are linked to development of mental illness. In fact, the severest form of mental illness that we call schizophrenia has been linked with parents who have this, we call it double bind communication, where you're saying one thing and your whole body language is saying another thing. You know, sometimes mothers are very good at that thing. They're saying, pick this thing. But it's like there is a call.
Okay, somebody is calling. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Okay, please, I would like to ask a little question. I'd like to ask a question, madam.
Go ahead, please. We can hear you. Ask your question.
Okay, my question is that I'm here with one lady. Okay, I'm here with one lady, madam, that I even prefer to marry her. But this lady, anytime when she came close to me, she's using 100 phone like that. But when she comes close to me, she don't want me to touch her phone. And even though I asked her and wanted to use her phone, she cannot accept it. I try all this always. She don't believe, she don't accept to give me time to hold her phone. So this is disturbing my life. And I even ask myself, what is the reason that this lady, she doesn't want me to touch her phone? And what is the reason? But my mind is telling me that maybe something is wrong somewhere. She has something that she's doing wrong inside her phone. That's the reason why she doesn't want me to touch her phone. So, madam, I'm sorry. I even like this program. I watched this program last week. I've been wanting to ask this question. I tried possible to call you people. I have no credit. So today I prefer that you people say today you come back on studio. So that's the reason why I deeply stand to call. Please, I need your help. What is the reason that the lady that I wanted to marry, and that she don't want me to touch her phone, and if she comes to my place, sometimes she will put her phone on flight mode, and even the security code on that phone, she don't want me to know it. What is the reason? I'm sorry. Thank you for my.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. We are going to keep your question on hold. If we have time after, because it's not what we're talking about right now, we will address it. But if we can't address it, maybe we will have a program, an episode to address, issues like this, relationships, and trust issues. I think they are trust issues. So just keep it in view, keep watching. We'll get to you ultimately. Okay, Dr. Gyang, parenting styles.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking about people that would say one thing and mean another. Or they are saying one thing now, in the next minute they are saying something else. And I was trying to say how parents would say, pick this, and the eye is saying, if you touch it, you know. I think the Bible has given us a basic model on how to communicate. You know, the Bible has said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you want to say no, say no. If you want to say yes, let it be yes. And if you say yes, mean yes. If you say, I'm giving you permission to do this, let it be that you have given permission from the whole of your heart. When children are coming up, especially, you know, younger children, once you are that kind of a person, research has shown that you make your children emotionally confused and troubled because they get so scared. They are not sure what you mean. When you're saying go, their mind starts going on overdrive, wondering, is she saying slow down? Is she saying go? Is she saying stop? You know, so it can really be very emotionally damaging for children. Let's not say we are trying to teach them sense or whatever by saying something, you know, go and enter the fire now. You know, what do I do with this? Put it on my head. You know, we laugh about these things, but they are not really the right way of communicating with our children. So we need to learn that. Another parenting style that can be very damaging is when the parents are not agreeing. The father is saying, don't do this. The mother is saying, do it. Or the mother says, don't do it. And the father is telling, I'm the head of the house. Go and do it. I've given you. You know, that can also be very emotionally damaging to the children. Sometimes we do that to settle our own fights. You know,
we use the children.
So
we use the children to fight.
My authority to prove to you that. So
I'm
I
in
tell
charge.
you something, I give the counter argument. what you do is that you just destroy your children emotionally. So that is another one. Another communication or parenting style is when one partner is dominant over the other. So I decide everything that happens with the kids. It can be the father, it can be the mother. So I decide what they wear, I decide what they eat, I decide what they want. Even you, I'm controlling you, telling you what to do. How, I learned, I actually met someone that, the father would give command for the children and the mother. And, if they don't do it, he would punish the children and punish the mother. So when you have one particular parent that is dominant and wanting to order everything, you might think that you're feeding your ego. But really what you do at the end of the day is that you damage your children, and they have increased risks of developing severe mental illnesses. So I don't know if you agree with me on this.
Yes.
Because we need to make like I usually have been saying, the home has to be a home. Let it be homely. Don't make it look like a barrack where you just give command. Like I said, I think last week, you don't even call your children by name. You say, who is there? Who goes there?
Hey, you, come
hey,
here.
you, come. The child has a name. And when you call the child by name, it's like you're telling the child, I know you are my child, not to say, you are snapping your finger and, the child must jump. And like she said, we transfer it even to the spouses. Let's make the place a home. Let it be that anybody that goes out of the house, whenever he or she is coming back,
even looking forward to coming home.
Back home. Whether it's a child or it's a mother or it's a father, the home is a place where, we are free with each other. We can sit together and say, today, let's put mat outside and sit down and laugh and sleep together and make jokes together. Not a place where somebody is a boss or the other person is supposed to be timid. You can't ask questions. If you must ask questions, you have to go and pray, Why should a child have to talk to the mother before the mother will pass the thing to the father? Why can't a child just walk up to the father and ask?
They want to follow chain of command.
There's no, it shouldn't be. If your children can talk to your wife,
they should be able to
talk to you. You are their father. They don't have another father somewhere.
I think mothers can help children, with that. A lot of the times, what we tend to do as mothers is as if we are proud
to say that they're talking to us. I don't like that.
So sometimes you should send them to their father. Say, go and talk to your father.
When they come to tell my mommy, I say, go and tell daddy.
And I think also when parents are having problems in their marriage, they are so angry with each other that they don't remember the kids.
The kids, yeah.
And even on occasion where I've had to remind parents that, look, your kids are suffering from what you are doing. They don't seem to care. Like, you are throwing away, I don't care. So this is now war. You've drawn the battle line and you people are fighting, and you don't care that when elephants fight, the grasses suffer. So your kids are the ones going to suffer it, and they will live with it for life, but nobody cares. We are throwing punches at each other, and we don't care that the children are caught in the crossfire. So I plead with parents. Well, our own desire too is that your marriage is working very well. But peradventure, there's a problem. Please calm down and remember that your children are there. So when you are shooting the bullets, throwing the bombs, remember that your children may be negatively, affected from that. Because the home, they would be. The home is not a safe place. I remember for me too, growing up as when I was a teenager, my parents had issues. And at a time, it was no more pleasant going home. So I tried to stay. By then, I was in the university, but I tried to stay out as long as I could. As long as I could, that it would not cause trouble for me before I come home. Because I just didn't want to come home. Home was just not a place to be. And it also put me in a situation where I gradually started making some bad life choices. But God just helped me that I didn't go too far. But I was already on that path to making bad life choices because I didn't want to be home. Home just was not nice. So parents, please make this home a safe place that everybody looks forward to coming. Not everybody is dodging because of you. Everybody should be free to relate, happy to talk to you. Nobody should be Sergeant General or whatever they call them, that they can't talk to you because you're always shouting and they are scared of you. Children shouldn't be afraid of their parents. They should respect us, they should honor us, but they should not fear us.
Yeah.
That's not right at all. If we can approach God, then I don't know why we can't approach our parents. That's not nice.
I think children should also be allowed to be children. Don't treat a 2-year-old like a 10-year-old. He's a child, let him be a child.
A child, yeah.
Allow him or her to grow through the stages of childhood. Don't force adulthood on children. There are some children who have become adults even before they become teenagers. So they have started taking adult roles because that's what you created at home. Don't force adulthood on children. Allow them to grow. Let children be children, let teenagers be teenagers, and let adult children be adult children.
Especially for the older children, don't create a situation where older children are forced to be fathers and mothers to their children when their parents are still alive. Because if people are quarreling or you are pursuing money, you now make your 5-year-old to become a mother to 3 and 2-year-old. It's not fair now. It's not right.
Another bad thing that happens is that sometimes parents can depend on the emotions of their children. For example, one of the things that I see quite frequently in emotionally disturbed, especially adolescents and young adults, is you discover that the mother and the father are not having good relationship. Then they divide the children. Every child takes sides. So the one that is siding you, every single moment that you have a fight with their father, let's assume it's the mother, you now come and sit down and download it on this child. And then it's like you seek your comfort from the children. That's another way of making them parents before their time. They don't have... Your child does not have any business dealing with
your marital
issues.
In your home. And one pathetic one that I discovered very recently is parents fight. Then God help the family, one of the spouses dies. And then he is aligned and has been sharing all his emotional baggage on this child. Now, this particular one is not okay with the other spouse because they feel they were persecuting the other one before they died. And so this child now is dealing with the trauma of losing a parent and also dealing with the complications and the hate
for the other
surviving parents.
Oh God, that's
then
not
it's
nice.
Breaking the child down emotionally. So we have to be very careful. What she's saying about not making children parents they are not. Let 5-year-olds be 5-year-olds. 15-year-olds, they are not mature. Remember we said last week, that the frontal lobe, which is the lobe of the brain that is responsible for all the higher functions, does not even get developed until the person is 25. So what are you doing? Giving them emotional work that they are not ready or prepared,
I think, as you said, parents are trying to buy people, supporters. So you want to tell your children how horrible their father is. Or you want to tell your children how horrible their mother is. And they have to take sides. If they don't take your side, then you'll be complaining and all that. For me too, growing up, that was one of the problems I had. Everybody was downloading on me. As I was the older child, my father would come and say his own, my mother would come and say how. Please, what do you want me to, a 15-year-old child, what do you want me to say? Have I been married before? Do I know anything about marriage? Then, with my little understanding, if I now advise my father, he said, what of your mother? I would not advise my mother, say, what of your father? I think it was too much. And those were the things that also were making me want to go away. I think maybe if I had the idea of running away, then maybe I would have done that. Because the pressure was too much. Once I come home, somebody will come and report. Can you imagine what your father did? Can you imagine what your mother did? Is this correct? Why would you do that to a child? It was too much heavy a burden for a child to bear. And I don't think it's fair. If parents feel that you must talk to somebody, talk to your friends. Talk to your pastor. Talk to the elders in your church. Look for a counselor or something. But please don't download it on your kids. It's so unfair. It's so mean. It's damaging to them. And
as we are talking about being nice and being whatever, being friendly, don't forget you're still the parents. So it is your responsibility to create boundaries. Children who do not have boundaries do not grow up to be emotionally resilient. They don't grow up to be emotionally healthy. So it starts from, it's not all the time that your 2-3-year-old should be eating snack and drinking milk. You know, that's where boundaries start.
Yeah.
You should eat
There
proper
should be-
food. When it's time for food, eat
proper
food.
When it's time for snack, in your house, it should be snack is once a day or twice a day, depending on how you want to put it. But let there be some order. There should be time for watching the television. There should be times that television should be off. There should be bedtime. There should be rules surrounding that. You must take your bath. You must wear your PJ. You must do this. You must do this. At so time, this thing should be off. And this, if you wake up in the morning, the first thing you must do is to do your quiet time. By the way, you teach them how to do personal quiet time.
Yeah.
It's not all the time that people must gather and be doing.
Everybody must learn how to
let
talk to
people
God
have
themselves.
those disciplines. Even when you think they are not understanding, allow one of the sessions to be the child and the Bible, whether he's understanding or not. Just
no.
trust
Should be
them in
reading
the
it.
hands of God. Let them be reading it. These are healthy boundaries that you create. When adults come into the sitting room, children give way. You know, those are some little boundaries that are
Don't
getting eroded now.
interrupt when
Or
adults are
interrupt
talking.
when adults are
Greet
talking.
when people come.
When they start, and you know, boundaries have to keep shifting. At some point, they are a bit loose. They become a bit more strange, and then they become loose again. You know, when children
Depending
are
on the
adolescent,
age.
depending on the age, when they are adolescent, or they have started going to visit your friend, nobody comes to this house before after 6 o'clock, after 7 o'clock, depending on what you do in your, you decide in your house, and enforce them. Especially when children, you know, I was in some church and we were talking about, you know, drug addiction. And when I talked about the boundaries and said, if you have an adult child that is abusing psychoactive substances and you agree in your house that gate is locked at 8 o'clock, if he comes after 8, let
Lock
him
the
go and
gate.
find, lock the gate, let him go
Support
and find somewhere
fully.
to sleep.
Yeah.
And you know, mothers were the ones
They are the ones that will
what
spoil
about
everything.
the danger?
Danger of
You
what?
did not think about the danger of moving from the beer parlor to your house. It's after he comes to your house that you're
That
thinking
is
about
the
danger.
danger.
You know, it is your duty when it comes to creating boundaries as a parent. When push comes to shove, remember you're not really their friend. The truth
Yeah,
is that the
you are the
first thing
parent.
is you're their parent. So you need to create boundaries. And boundaries start from when your children are even in your arms. You start, they bite you on the breast, you spank them a little, warn them not to do that. They start having a sense of what is good and what is bad. And then you keep adjusting the boundaries. Then when they become adults, you're relaxing some, you're introducing others, you know, and things like that.
I think one of the problems, especially with modern parents that I'm seeing now, is people are not, psychologically, they are not okay too. So they are looking for validation even in their children. So parents don't want their children to hate them.
Yeah.
They want their children to like them. So whatever the child wants, you'll be doing for the child so that the child will not hate you. Every responsible, normal parent must be hated at one point
At
in
one
time.
point or the other.
Hate in
Yeah.
quotes. Your children must dislike what you are doing. They cannot like what you are doing all the time. At a time, me too, growing up, at a time, I even wondered whether my mother was my mother because I felt she was too strict. I said, what kind of woman is this? She cannot allow somebody to feel free. But now, as an adult, I look back and I'm appreciative of the discipline that was instilled in me. If she let me do whatever I wanted, however I wanted, I don't think I would have been able to come how far I've come in life. So parents, don't seek for your children to be your friends. They are, as she said, primarily they are not your friends. You are the parent and they are the child.
Friendly
So
You are
sometimes
a friendly parent, yeah.
Yes. So sometimes don't change the dynamics. The children now become the parents, and you are now the
yeah.
child. The children will now be dictating what will happen in the house. You give rules, they don't listen to you because they know they are not enforceable. You can't enforce any rule. Then when they misbehave too much, next, especially us mothers, you start crying. Crying for what?
For a child.
For a child.
Yeah.
Well, this thing you are doing, I don't like it. You are hurting me. How is that their business? And they'll still keep using it against you. So I think parents, mothers, fathers, we need to be firm. Friendly, love our children, but I think, as she said, set the boundaries and keep to them. If you decide that breakfast on Monday is bread or is akara,
Let
everybody eat akara. They can't come and tell you that.
Including you
Yeah?
and the father.
They can't come and tell me that it's Indomie you want to eat. For what now? I don't like akara. I don't eat beans. Eat it. Instead, maybe you may not eat as much, but you eat. But don't create other options because that's what some parents do.
Yeah.
Okay, since you don't like Indomie, what do you want to eat now? I want to eat shawarma. Okay. How much is shawarma? 2,000. Okay, go and buy shawarma for her. What's that nonsense? So tomorrow, if they are no more in your house, they have to live with somebody else, or they live somewhere where they cannot afford
Afford
this
those
kind of
things,
thing you are doing.
yeah.
Although trouble starts for all of us. They have to begin to do other things that they are not supposed to do to be able to get what they want. And that's not right.
For the teenagers, help them to begin to become autonomous on their own, to begin to take independent decisions on their own. Don't always be the one to tell them to take decisions for them. You know, what do you want? How do you want to go about this? Why do you want it? It's not, you should be like an advisor, you know, stand and let them take steps. If they fall down, they would have learned that, okay, taking this step is wrong and you fall. Although it's not every step you let them take, because you have to
But you guide
them and let them take steps and let them fall, stand, and that's how they grow, so that they can easily go away without pressure. You know, I know of some children in the university that their parents still buy water and take to them, while others are carrying buckets to go and fetch water within the university. Their own parents will buy water and bring to them. They will buy this and take to them.
How long will you solve? Instead of teaching them problem-solving skills. Okay, so they're telling us it's time up.
To grow.
Yeah.
Your children need to grow. As we're saying, allow them to go through this process of growing. And once they are grown, release them. Some children, like she said last week, you hold the children as if you don't want to let them go.
So they should go. And even if they don't want to go, let them go. Send them out. They have to go.
How can I be keeping somebody's husband in my house?
Thank you.
Somebody is 30 years old, he's still living with me and eating
doing
my
what?
Food. For what?
And telling you which type of food he wants to eat.
This is
can
what
you
I
imagine?
want to eat in this
Please,
house.
you should go and hustle the way other people are hustling.
Yes, go out.
Dr. Gyang, last words before we wrap up.
I think parents should always know that we set the tone for what goes on in the lives of our children. They are a trust, they are a responsibility that God has given us to manage. And remember, we are going to give an account of these children that God has entrusted into our care. And giving an account, I think it doesn't just has to do with their spirits, but also how you were able to keep them emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, so that they can be productive and reach their God-given potentials, you know, on earth. If you are having emotional struggles yourself, please don't be ashamed. Seek help. It will really help the emotions of your children too.
Where would they seek help? Tell them.
Yeah, see, there is really nothing wrong in seeing a psychiatrist. I'm a psychiatrist. I don't think I look evil or look scary or look crazy or anything.
Yeah.
It is where normal people, were doctors that are trained to take care of your mind and the things that goes on in your brains. So talk to a mental health professional. If you're afraid of coming to the hospital, seek out a counselor, seek out a psychologist, talk to them. If you need to see a doctor, they will refer you as appropriate. And when people say, see a psychiatrist, it's not for crazy people. We manage everything from sleep disorders to difficulty with grief to issues, impulse control issues to addiction problems, a wide range of things. So there is really no shame.
And psychiatrists help. And me, I would say, I have sent family members to see her on a number of occasions, and they've done well. They've done well. So that you are having emotional issues does not mean that you are mad. Get help so that you'll be able to cope better with life. Yes, they are already warning us, so we need to go. Thank you so much, Dr. Gyang. Thank you so much for coming 3 times. Not easy. From your busy schedule. God bless you big time. Staibi, thank you so much too for being here as usual with your plenty psychology things. And viewers, thank you for sticking with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week at the Living Room, 5:30 on Equa Television. Please, all the things we have said today, as scripture says, do not just be hearers, but also be doers. Practice these things so that our children will grow up whole and, as she said, achieve their God-given potential. God bless you. Looking forward to seeing you again next time on Equa Television. God bless.
Amen.